So when it comes to creating characters for our tabletop role-playing games, typically we see a lot of people have so many different ways on how they approach creating that level character, whether this be level 1, 2, whatever the campaign calls for. But recently I have been running a lot of zeroth level play, where I start off the campaign where everybody is a peasant, and that is how you kick off the adventure, not as a hero, but as a nobody that is striving to be somebody. My question to you all is, how do you feel about that approach? Do you think level zeroth play should be seen, or do you think it's for the birds? Flutes, kick us off.
I have played it. I think it's a lot of fun. My wife ran it. She's very creative. She's very good at running without like rules heavy mechanics. So being without a class, at least early on, was super fun and getting that kind of progress out of your character. She wrote a whole article about it, and I think she made a video about it if I remember right. So if you want to check out that on my channel, you can see her talk about that. But I think it's great to start out exploring your character and why they find a call to adventure. And session zeros are great for finding call to adventure, right? Because it's often like a call to why they have the skill set they do. Sometimes it can be fun to do session where you're a few sessions where you're nobody, and then maybe you do a time skip where maybe you have honed your skills and you've been an apprentice for a while, or maybe you have it where you kind of had some skills but you've been squandering them, like I did with my piano lessons as a kid. If I started lessons again, maybe I'd pick it up real quick and I could be a level 1 piano player. But I don't know. Not session zero. I keep saying that. Starting at session level 0 is a great fun concept. I recommend everyone to try at least once.
I wholeheartedly agree. Wally, zeroth level play. Yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I mean, you actually consider it, you're creating your backstory together as your party. Your level 0 is part of your backstory, and one that I'd always want to run. You kind of see this a lot in movies where some kind of a tragic event, like maybe witnessing a death or something like that, and everyone promises to be quiet. Then you could throw, like Jordan said there, with a time skip. So your level 0 could be exploring down in this cave and you see something that forever scars you, and then all of your party members, they go away, for like a year or two, and then you come back together. And then during that time, so you've got that event that kind of just started everything, and then you come back and it's just like, well, what have you been doing all this time? I was like, well, I'm a drunken monk or something like that. So yeah, I think level 0 would be fun. You get the right group together, I think it would be really cool.
People
Absolutely.
like the It movies, It and It Part 2. That's basically what they did, right? The childhood trauma, and then time skip, bring it back adults, more competent, and see what they've been up to.
But hopefully with less dragons involved. Blanco,
Yeah.
zeroth level play.
Oh, a couple years ago, I would have said that this was an overcorrection because I was obsessed a couple years ago with the whole thing where everybody said like, "I need to start a D&D game at level 3," and it was very annoying. And I actually tried to do research, so I went on all the different websites, and like I just bad takes after bad takes. I'm not exactly sure like what started, but there was just an idea that like if you were starting a game of D&D, you start at third level because like everything else was a waste of time or something, which is just insane because I specifically said the question is like if you have a new player involved, wouldn't it make sense to start at level 1? And everybody was like, be an Eldritch Knight. So if I can't be an Eldritch Knight, it doesn't make any sense to start off at level 1. I have to start off at level 3. I have to start off at level 3. It doesn't make sense because I'm an Eldritch Knight. So it's just awful. And the only place that I found like sanity was like D&D Beyond, where you actually had, people that, didn't have room temperature IQs who said, yeah, of course, if it's new players involved, of course, start level. So I thought the session 0 trend was like an overcorrection for this because we had so many games where everybody was like, you're starting off at level 3, read the entire rule book. Don't come to the game unless you prepare, read the entire rule book, blah, 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 blah. We don't have time for this. we need to start a really cool thing and do our super cool fucking things. We completely missed the point of 5e that we think we're superheroes in this stupid thing. We play a dumb, unbalanced game, and it doesn't matter at all because we're gonna throw everything out the window. We're not gonna play vanilla, and we're not gonna have any characters come close to dying because everyone's just a dumb idiot and they don't understand what the game was going for. But now we have session zeros, and like we're playing literally without the rules at all, which like confused me to hell at first, and I thought it was an overcorrection. But I've run a lot of games for new players since then, and you know what? I do like the idea of playing like for a couple hours, maybe without the rules, and I think that's a good compromise because especially if you're dealing with like an entire group of people who've never played D&D before, just the basic stuff, and then you introduce level 1 characters and stuff like that. But starting out even for like but yeah, I don't know what the heck the deal was a couple of years ago because like literally like everywhere that I went, everyone was like, and I think it might have to do again. I hate to blame everything about everything going wrong with D&D with streamers and stuff like that, but I think a lot of streamers and stuff were starting their games out on level 3, and thus a lot of people thought that level 1 it's just like it's useless. You hear completely different reasons why. Like it's the lower levels of D&D are so hard, and your player characters get killed so easily, or lower levels are so stupid because there's no danger, there's nothing that bad that can happen. You don't have any. So it's just like it's incomprehensible. D&D at level 1 is the same as D&D at the other levels if you actually try to balance it a little bit. The beautiful thing about 5e is that there's these things called monsters with different abilities, and if they're leveled, then their abilities start to cancel out the abilities that the player characters have, and thus they actually have to start, doing teamwork and actually thinking about combat a little bit. And it's fun. We have fun little games, but yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Session Zero, I think, in my opinion, I think if you have a good like expectations thing where you just explain what you expect of the players and explain what they can expect for you and let them know you're available for questions and stuff, that's very good. But I don't like the idea. I've never liked the idea of playing a game where you're not playing D&D for the first game. There's so many people that I've played with, and this is maybe getting far away from the combat. I just want to say this anyways. So many people have a session like 1 where it's just like, now we're going to take this time period that we decided to set aside for D&D and we're going to make our characters. And it's just like I hate that. Hate it. Hate it. Like we're here to play a game, and playing the game does not entail making the characters. If you have absolutely brand new people, then take the time to generate characters, or if worse comes to worse, use the pre-generated awful characters, Wizards of the Coast. Last time I checked, there was still errors in the calculations with some of those characters. Even though, how long have those characters been around so far? D&D 5e is going to be around 15 damn years, and the pre-generated characters on their website is still incorrect after all those damn years. You know? But hey, I'm just an idiot.
I love the idea of like in the future we get rid of first and second level because so many people complain about it. So third level is now the new first level. But then in a few years, people complain about that. So then, like, 5th level be the new first level.
Yep.
And it's like this repeating cycle. And I love that idea. So for me, running 0th level adventures, I love what I do in particular is I hand each person 4 peasants. And they go off on the adventure. Some of the peasants may die in horrifically gruesome affairs. Maybe some of them. And the survivors will then go on to become heroes because through their trials and tribulations they are the ones that stand out, and then they have the call to adventure. They have a reason to adventure. So I love 0th level play for that reason, and also for the reason of I love when my players don't look at their character sheets, because I truly do think that character sheets ruin the game. And in particular, when I hand my characters my players these character sheets where there's nothing on them, they're forced to look up, not look down. I love when players look up, not look down. And thus giving them 4 peasants that have no abilities, no features, no traits, no nothing. Every action that they do is purely on them, not on this one ability that they have or this one feature that they, min-max to get or whatever. And that is why I love 0th level play.
You should change your name to No Look Down Allowed.
I'm just gonna rip away everyone's character sheets. You don't deserve them.
Who's got
You have to
Jim?
look
Give
at
me
it. You
Jim.
don't deserve it.
Alrighty, so that was our so what do you all think about 0th level play, where you play as nobodies, where you play as peasants, where you play as not heroes but maybe adventurers or even less than that? How do you feel about 0th level play? Go ahead and tell us, because I would love to hear it.
Do you consider starting them with like their background?
Their background wouldn't, well, it wouldn't work for
if they were
5e. Because 5e
Yeah, so
backgrounds imply that you're a badass. Like the folk hero and the so-and-so, this and that. I'm also working on a whole document of 0th level play in regards of rolling up characters, backgrounds, traits, features, transitioning from 0th level to 1st level, things like that.
I like that idea though. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I just recently ran a 0th level adventure where out of the 28 peasants, 5 of them survived.
Wow.
It was a grindhouse. So
Can I have
sad.
one of your peasants? All of mine are dead.
That's literally what happens. That's literally what happens.
These are my peasants.
Like one person has like 3 of their peasants die, and then one person has no peasants die, and then it's like, hey, screw you! You're going in that room first.
It reminds me of that egg project from school where you had to like keep an egg without it breaking for like a week or whatever else.
That's exactly what it
you
is.
broke yours. You're not getting one of mine.
Alrighty, that's going to do it for us today. That was a ton of great answers by my lovely esteemed guest here. So let's give a great outro. Blandco, go ahead and sell us about you. What are you up to?
Go to YouTube, in the search bar, type in the word bland and the letter CO in back of it, Blandco, to check out my channel where I talk about D&D stuff and do a bunch of cool crafts. A lot of stuff about how to start your miniature collection without making the mistakes that I've made in the past, which have resulted in way too many miniatures, and I'm trying to pare down my collection. I'm going to guide new people so they don't fall into the same pitfalls that I fell into. And other D&D stuff like that. It's very cool.
Alrighty. Flutes Loot, send it.
Yeah, go to Redbubble for one thing and find a lot of really cool designs that my wife has made there. I highly recommend checking those out. I don't know if I'd consider us a bestseller like Wally's puzzle book, but I'm going to say we're bestsellers on Redbubble for D&D stuff. We've got a website, flutesloot.com, a YouTube channel, Flutes Loot. Search for those things, you'll find us. I tried to pick a name that no one else would overlap with too much, and I seem to have succeeded. So if you ever want to talk D&D with us, do that. We also just signed up with a Patreon. We have 2 patrons now. We haven't even promoted it. We got some, so that's cool. And then you can join our exclusive Discord if you want to chat more with us directly.
Heck yeah. Wally.
Okay, so what I would like to promote is with that same YouTube search bar that you're looking for Blandco, type in the Obelisk of Amber Vein. Do that, you're going to find a one-shot adventure. It's in 5 parts where you can see No Fun Allowed getting totally controlled by a ventriloquist dummy while Blandco's character just repeats everything he says. That's all I have. Wally DM.
Alrighty. In that same search bar, you just overwrite that and type in No Fun Allowed. Do not click on the Minecraft video, but go further down and there's some D&D stuff. You click on that, and then you'll get to me. In addition to that, I'm also releasing No Fun's Guide to Everything, a monthly D&D zine filled with a whole bunch of goodies for both players and DMs, including feats, spells, traits, abilities, adventures, just general features for your games, and so much more. That is going to do it for us for this DM Roundtable. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for listening. Thank you to the lovely people that keep the lights on around here. And I cannot wait to see you all in the next one.